The Dunmer are my favourite race in Elder Scrolls, mainly because their lore is so rich and complex. The Tribunal of Living Gods, the Morag Tong Assassins, the Ordinators and their sick masks, the Telvanni and their mushroom towers, and the Redoran with their old city of Aldrun, where the Manor District was built inside a hollowed out shell of a giant emperor crab. There is a lot to this awesome race, and I would 100% recommend you look into them more, but here for you today, I've broken down 5 facts about the Dunmer to give you a taste and a bit of an insight into their deep and complex lore. Fact number 1. Let's start with how this race even came about. The Dark Elves weren't always the grey-skinned, red-eyed hotties that you see today. Long ago, they resembled the High Elves in form. They were once the Chimer, a group of Daedra-worshipping elves who ditched the Summerset Isles under the guidance of the Prophet Veloth. They came to a place they would name Resdayn, which is now known as modern-day Morrowind. How these Chimer actually became the ash-skinned Dunmer that you know today is a very long story with a few different points of view, so I'll give you the most basic rundown. The Dwemer and Chimer made an alliance against the Nords in Resdayn, kicking them out. One of the Dwemer, Kagrenak, began using the Heart of Lorkhan to attempt to make their own god. The Chimer weren't having it, and then they began the War of the First Council. Dwemer disappear, and 3 Chimer, Almalexia, Vivec, and Sothosil find the Heart of Lorkhan. Azura tells them not to use it, they use it anyways and become living gods. Azura gets pissed off and then curses the entire race of Chimer, making their skin grey and eyes red. Almalexia, Sothosil, and Vivec assume positions as gods, becoming the Tribunal, the main religion of the Dark Elves, up until the events preceding Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. Fact number 2. As I just stated, the Dunmer worshipped 3 living gods known as the Tribunal up until the gods were killed or disappeared at the end of the Third Era. These gods include Almalexia, known as the Healing Mother, the Lady of Mercy, and the Mother of Morrowind. She was greatly loved by the people. Sothosil was the mystic wizard god of the Dunmer, the father of mysteries, Magus magician, clockwork god, and light of knowledge. He is a very powerful magic user. He even taught some Psijic mages on the Isle of Artaeum. Finally, there was Vivec, the warrior poet who represented spirit and duality. Also, his body represented half Chimer and half Dunmer. This tribunal was worshipped until they were either killed or vanished, and this left the Dunmer to return to the Daedric worship of old. The modern pantheon of the Dunmer faith is called the Reclamations, the 3 Daedra, Azura, Mephala, and Boethia. Azura, Mephala, and Boethia are considered the good Daedra, which proves interesting since Mephala's sphere is lies and murder, while Boethia's sphere is deceit and treachery. Doesn't seem very good to me. There is also what they consider the bad Daedra, called the 4 corners of the House of Troubles. These include Molag Bal, Mehrunes Dagon, Malakath, and Sheogorath. With no divines in sight, living gods, and Daedra lords, it definitely makes for a cool and complex religion. Fact number 3. I just told you about how the Dunmer now worship the 3 Daedra like the Chimer of old. Well, not all Dunmer used to worship the Tribunal of Living Gods. Tribes of Dunmer called Ashlanders believed them to be false gods and continued to worship the Daedra, Mephala, Boethia, and Azura. The Ashlanders were tribes of aggressive xenophobic Dunmer who despised the Tribunal Temple and all foreigners. Each Ashlander clan is run by an Ashkhan and spiritually led by a wise woman. Once looked upon by the rest of the Dunmer with disdain, the Ashlanders are now venerated for having the true vision and always maintaining worship of the true gods, the Reclamations. Nowadays, many Dunmer will take pilgrimages to the Ash Wastes to seek the counsel of the wise women. The Ashlanders themselves believe that the eruption of Red Mountain and Argonian invasion were punishments from the 3 Daedra. Fact number 4. The Chimer, who then became Dunmer, were organized into clans called houses. Each house is defined by their own unique cultural elements and ways of life. If you watched our Mephala fact video, then you may know that she was actually behind the design of this organization. At the end of the Third Era, there were 5 great houses. House Redoran focuses on maintaining tradition, especially the way of the warrior. House Telvanni is filled with ambitious and powerful mages living in their mushroom towers. House Indoril is closely related with the Tribunal Temple, orthodox and conservative. House Hlaalu focusing on business and diplomacy with close ties to the Empire. And House Dress, who possessed a very wealthy agricultural society with vast salt rice plantations and lots of slaves. Now, however, in the 4th Era, this is not the case. House Dress suffered massive losses at the hands of the Argonian invasion. House Hlaalu was stripped of its holdings due to anti-imperial rhetoric that was at the time and was replaced with House Sadras. House Redoran is now one of the more dominant houses in Morrowind and are what stopped the Argonian invasion from slaughtering more Dunmer. Factor number 5. Funeral rites and ancestors are taken very seriously in Dunmer culture. Every home has a family shrine to pay their respects to ancestors through sacrifices, prayers, oaths, and reports on affairs of the family. This shrine is called the Waiting Door and is symbolic of the door to oblivion. Poorer households may simply have a small alcove or hearth, while wealthy families would have an entire room. This veneration of ancestors naturally leads to the belief that necromancy performed on Dark Elves is heresy. However, performing necromancy on the other races of Tamriel is seen as acceptable since they are similar to animals in their minds. Dark Elves also cremate their dead in giant pits, like you could see in both Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind and the Dragonborn DLC in Ravenrock. Subscribe for more awesome videos just like this. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it. I do love the Dunmer after all. Check out our other fact videos like the one we did on Mephala. Social media links are in the description. My name is Scott and I will see you next time.